On the book, there's a little picture on the cover and of Robert and I in 1969. And, oh, here it is. Oh, look, here's the ribbon. Exclusive to the German translation. So this picture was taken on our second anniversary, September 1st, 1969, and this little passage tells about it. Robert and I rose early. We had put money aside for our second anniversary. I had prepared our clothing the night before, washing things in the sink. He squeezed out the excess water, as his hands were stronger, and draped the clothes over the iron headboard we used as a clothesline. In order to dress for the occasion, he disassembled the piece in which he had stretched 2 black t-shirts on a vertical frame. I had sold a Faulkner book, and along with a week's rent, was able to buy Robert a Borsellino hat at J.J. Hat Center on 5th Avenue. It was a fedora. I watched him comb his hair and try it on different ways before the mirror. He was obviously pleased as he jokingly pranced around in his anniversary hat. He put my book, my sweater, his cigarettes, and a bottle of cream soda in a white sack. He didn't mind carrying it because it gave him a sailor's air. We got on the F train and rode to the end of the line. I loved the ride to Coney Island. Just the idea that you could go to the ocean via the subway was so magical. I was deeply absorbed in a biography of Crazy Horse when I snapped to the present and looked at Robert. He was like a character in Brighton Rock in his 40s style hat, black net t-shirt, and huaraches. We pulled into our stop and I leapt to my feet, filled with the anticipation of a child. He took my hand. Nothing was more wonderful to me than Coney Island with its gritty innocence. It was our kind of place. The fading arcades, the peeling signs of bygone days, cotton candy, Cupid dolls on a stick, dressed in feathers, glittering top hats. We wandered through the last gasp of the sideshows. They had lost their luster, although they still had human oddities like the donkey-faced boy, the alligator man, and the 3-legged girl. Robert found the world of freaks fascinating, though of late he was sort of foregoing them for leather boys in his work. We strolled the boardwalk and we got our picture taken by an old man with a box camera. We had to wait for an hour for it to be developed, so we went to the end of the long fishing pier where there was a shack that served coffee and hot chocolate. Pictures of Jesus, President Kennedy, and the astronauts were taped to the wall behind the register. It was one of my favorite places, and I would often daydream of getting a job there and living in one of the old tenement buildings across from Nathan's. All along the pier, young boys and their grandfathers were crabbing. They'd slide raw chicken as bait in a small cage on a rope and hurl it over the side. The pier was swept away in a big storm in the 80s, but Nathan's, which was Robert's favorite place, remained. Normally, we only had money for 1 hot dog and a Coke. He would eat most of the hot dog, and I would get most of the sauerkraut. But that day, we had enough money for 2 of everything. We walked across the beach to say hello to the ocean, and I sang him the song Coney Island Baby by the Excellents. Do you know that song? It goes something like, "You're my Coney Island baby." You know, one of those a cappella type songs. And so I sang it to him. He wrote our names in the sand. We were just ourselves that day, without a care. It was our good fortune that this moment in time was frozen in a box camera. It was our first real New York City portrait. Who we were. Only weeks before we had been at the bottom, but our blue star, as Robert called it, was rising. We boarded the F train for the long ride back, returned to our little room at the Chelsea Hotel, cleared off the bed, happy to be together.